Welcome to Papillion UnScripted. I'm Michael Severe, the place to go to hear from people that truly help make Papillion feel like home. Joining us now is the Executive Director of the Heartland Bike Share, Benny Foltz. How you doing today?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
I want to make sure we have everything correct.
Okay.
E-bike, B-cycle, Heartland Bike Share. What is the official term when we're referring to what we're talking about today?
Okay. Our program in the Omaha Metro, which is part of the Papillion, is Heartland Bike Share.
Okay.
And we have a new color, which is purple, and a new
it.
logo.
Yeah.
So we're being referred to as Heartland Bike Share moving forward.
And when we talk about the bikes, they are e-bikes.
Yep, that's
because
correct.
they're electric bikes.
Yep.
Cool. So how did you get involved with bikes? Just reading your history, you've been in different organizations, on boards. What is it about bicycles that has always attracted you?
Sure, yeah. I discovered bikes a couple decades ago as a primary form of transportation, and I've just been riding my bike as, you know, basically my car whenever I can. And then I was working for a large tech company here in town, actually, and wanted to spread the gospel of the bicycle.
Right.
And so I started a bike to work program there and a bike share program there, both unsuccessful, but I learned a lot. And then from that, I joined forces with some other people and started Nebraska's first bicycle advocacy group, which was the Nebraska Bicycling Alliance and is now called Bike Walk Nebraska. And I'm still on the board for that. And then, I serve on the board for the Nebraska Trails Foundation, as well as the North America Bike Share Scooter Share Association as well.
Right.
And over the years, I've seen a lot as far as lack of bicycle infrastructure, and that seems to be what my new push forward will be with everything that we're collecting as far as data with e-bikes now.
Let's talk the Metro, and Papillion specifically. How are we as a bike city? How are we in terms of lanes, that sort of thing? Is it coming along?
Well, I'll back up a little bit and go statewide.
Okay.
So Nebraska moved up one spot for bicycle friendliness, and so we are now no longer 50th, we are 49th.
Well, got that going for us, okay.
Yeah. So Omaha and Lincoln, though, Omaha Metro and Lincoln are doing better than the state as a whole. And currently Omaha does have a protected bikeway, the Market to Midtown Bikeway, but that's only a temporary pilot project right now, so we're hoping to get that voted in as a permanent structure. If that is voted out, then we won't have a single one other than Lincoln's protected bike lane on our N Street. Now, Sarpy County, and Papillion specifically, is doing great.
Yeah.
You can just travel down Lincoln Road and see the bike lanes are being put down in developments where there's not even businesses yet, but that's planning ahead. That's what we need to see. And the current 4 bike share stations in Papillion now, you can ride to each one safely, either on a trail or in a bike lane, which is how it should be.
Yeah, let's talk about those 2 new ones, Prairie Queen and then also Walnut Creek.
Yep.
How are they going so far since they've been installed?
They're doing great. And I don't know if it's a novelty effect yet or not, but the Papillion folks are riding. So Prairie Queen, Walnut Creek is a top 10 station for the month of August.
Wow.
Just ran the reports this morning. It came in at 10. Prairie Queen follows in at 12. Then First Street Plaza here and Papillion Landing are all in the top 25 for the month of August for trips.
Nice.
So we're seeing a lot of just checking the bikes out and returning to that station, but then we're also seeing trips from Prairie Queen to Papillion Landing and back. And then what we have been seeing since we installed the station in Bellevue is folks will ride from Papillion to Bellevue and then back to Papillion.
Yeah, when I talked to you before, it's interesting. Obviously, recreation's a big part of it. But at the same time, there are people using it for transportation like you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So bike share has certainly evolved, especially since post pandemic, and with us implementing e-bikes into the system. That's the big one. 5 years ago, bike share, especially in the Omaha Metro, was purely recreational and exercise and having some fun, and it still is those things. Don't get me wrong, but we have shifted to a public transportation type of philosophy, and that's people who are now riding almost daily. They're getting on an e-bike, and they are riding to where they need to go for the day, and then at the end of the day, they're riding back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell people how the pedal assist works.
Sure.
The first time you get on the bike, you're thinking, okay, I got a pedal, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this boost is pretty nice. So how does the process work?
Yeah, and I'll first say I'll always suggest to download the B-Cycle app.
First thing
is download the B-Cycle app. We do have some kiosks with a credit card reader, and you can go through that flow, but we're phasing those out, and we'll eventually be all app-based, just like the scooters are and most bike shares are nowadays. So download the app, and then you can buy a membership. You can buy a daily, a monthly, or an annual membership. If you can't afford one, contact us. And then you'll select your bike and you'll check it out. And then the first thing you want to do is turn it on.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a rookie move. If you're not feeling the pedal assist, you didn't turn it on.
Right.
So after you turn it on, you'll want to see if how much battery is it. We have the range on the bike, so it'll tell you if there's 5 miles or 35 miles, because these things can go quite a ways.
Right.
And so if you have a low battery, you can just redock that bike and check another one out, and it doesn't cost you anymore because you get unlimited 60-minute trips.
Right.
So once you turn the e-bike on, you adjust the seat. It's got a quick release lever, and you can raise it and lower it and swivel it to what's most comfortable. Then you'll want to ride. The e-bikes are Class 1 electric pedal assist bikes. So what that means is they won't engage the motor until you're actually pedaling. And as soon as you stop pedaling, that assist stops as well. It makes it a little bit more safer than the Class 2 or 3 types of bikes.
Oh, okay.
And then it provides the assist up to 17 miles per hour.
In terms of what you're seeing from people in their travel, like give me an example. You mentioned Bellevue to Papillion, but do we have people in Omaha? First of all, there's about 80 stations, is that right?
Yep.
You see people in Omaha that are traveling good distances on the course of a day?
We are. We're seeing further ranges than we ever have. We're even seeing people riding the e-bikes outside of the Omaha area and then turning around and coming back. Yeah, and we have these heat maps that we can see that shows the tracks, and we actually use the heat maps then to decide where we're going to put future stations.
Okay.
And that's how we got the Bellevue one in. But we're seeing folks in Exarban, ride the Keystone to Bellevue, and then Bellevue into Papillion. We know a couple that does that frequently and then stops at Graylee's for ice cream.
Yeah.
And then they actually might stop at Culver's, I've heard, in Bellevue. So I'm like, all right.
That's funny.
Yeah. And we have a station at Chaco Hills that does quite well. It's actually our second or third best station. And we are seeing a few folks that are riding from Prairie Queen to Chaco. Now, it's a little bit dicey on 132nd Street right now, so there's not a safe route for that. But ideally, there will be down the road, and that'll be another outlet that people are riding. But we have 7 stations in Council Bluffs, and we have people who have ridden from Council Bluffs to Papillion to Omaha and back to CB.
Just over the Bob, over the bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in fact, the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge is our most popular route. It's back and forth over that bridge.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So 4 in Papillion now. Do we need more? Is there a talk about needing more in Papillion?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always feel we need more.
Right.
My ideal world would be no cars, unless it's for an absolutely needed trip.
Yeah.
But I think right now 4 is a great number. We don't have any plans for next year to put 1 in, but the year after that, we're going to start evaluating, talking with Mayor Black. We'll look at the tower.
84th and 70?
Yep.
Yeah.
As a location, and then there's also the Shadow Lake area has some possibilities. The hospital is a spot we could explore. We also will be connecting Papillion to La Vista and then to Ralston. La Vista for sure next year at the city center, and then I'm not sure when Ralston will go in, but that'll be a nice connector for all the stations in Papillion.
With all those areas, all those hubs, I'm assuming you're hiring?
We are definitely hiring.
Yeah.
You'll see us in the World Herald this Sunday, actually. We did 9,000 plus trips in August.
Wow.
The only other time we've done that was this past June, which was 10,000 plus. We've never hit these numbers before, and we're hiring bike mechanics and field technicians. All the information's on our website. A full-time position with benefits at a local nonprofit. It's a pretty great place to work.
And you mentioned also second chance for people who need that extra chance that maybe can't get it in some places you guys are providing.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So Heartland Bike Share considers itself a second chance organization where if you have a criminal background or a lapse in employment, we may overlook that and we'll still bring you in for an interview to talk about those situations and see if we can work something out.
That's interesting. How about in terms of about you? Where did you grow? Did you grow up here? Are you from here? Get your background.
I'm from small town Nebraska, North Bend, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
My folks still live there. I surprisingly didn't ride a lot of bikes in North Bend.
I bet.
It wasn't until I got into college and needed to move myself around more. But I went to UNO, got a bachelor's and master's degree where I focused in recreation administration and nonprofits and parks.
Well, I'm sure people will hear this and you talk about how much you ride. Is there a limit to temperature for you? Like, is there a point where you're like, okay, today cannot be a bike day? We are in Nebraska.
So there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear.
Okay, all right. Even if it involves ice.
If I see a car on the road, I believe a bike can be on the road.
Okay.
Now I wouldn't suggest that to anyone. Take some experience and certainly some confidence and know-how with that. And in the warmer weathers or the extremely warm, hot seasons, staying hydrated is critical, of course. But that's my absolute favorite time to ride.
Yeah, you told me the story about the couple who goes from Bellevue to Papillion, but I'm sure you've heard lots of great stories. Anything about maybe people getting to work because they didn't have a car, they had to get a bike, any kind of thing like that?
Yeah, we have plenty of success stories with that in mind, where maybe they were riding the bus in the past, but the bus doesn't come as frequently as they want, or they're not near a bus stop, but they're closer to a bike station. And so before the classic bikes, which we still have some in the system, and if you don't turn an e-bike on, it functions just like a classic bike, so you can still get that if that's your thing. But when we started deploying more e-bikes, they found it significantly easier to get to their work or wherever they're going and back. And we also have some success stories of folks who were not comfortable riding the classic bikes, needed to lose some weight or just get some exercise, and the e-bike was their solution because it provided the assist, so they were still comfortable on a bike, whereas the classic bikes was a little bit too much effort for them. And we have one fella who lost, I think it was 80 pounds.
Wow.
Actually, he was a top rider. He now bought his own e-bike, which we always encourage, and he's still out there riding today.
That's awesome. My boss is a big mountain bike guy. Are you a mountain biker too? Are you in that little club?
My team loves single track and mountain biking. I like to go with them, but they all drop me pretty fast. I'm more of a transportation rider. I commute to and from work. I rode here. I ride to get my groceries. I like to pull my kids or dog in a trailer and
A Burley.
Yeah,
we had a Burley for the kids. Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, my dog's not crazy about it, but.
Well, last thing, watch out for the bikes on the road, right? I mean, you can't tell people that enough, that when you're on the road, they have their spot as well.
Yeah, that's huge. The number one reason people don't ride is because of safety, right? And the lack of infrastructure. And when you are riding, you have to be very cognizant of motor vehicles. It's the number one thing out there. Always be alert where you're riding. Sometimes the sidewalk is the solution for the safest place if you're not comfortable riding with the cars. If you are, a bike can be on the road with the cars, but yeah, safety is a huge thing.
And wear your helmet.
Wear a helmet.
Oh, good. Benny, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Man. It's good talking to you. Join us again next time. We'll hear from somebody who, again, helped Papillion feel like home.